Usually I wait, there's a little I that I wait for. There it is. Okay, now I see it. Super awesome. All right, I'm pretty jazzed right now. Hello, everybody. My name is Oren. This is Martin. We'll be talking. We'll be introducing over there in just a second. This is the first episode of Highly Motivated. What is Highly Motivated? Highly Motivated is a virtual smoke session. Highly Motivated is the community coming together to encourage, empower, enthuse, pump up, hold up, and to help. This is the community coming together to educate. So that's what you've now just joined. It's Highly Motivated. It's a very new show in a new direction, doing some new things. So I have to say I'm pretty excited about it, pretty jazzed indeed. And we're just going to chat. That's what this is. I mean, I want to chat about different things in the industry. I want to talk about different cannabinoids and how you can use them in your body to improve your health, to lose weight, to regulate the blood sugar. We're going to talk about all of that. And then we're going to probably get off the topic and talk about something entirely wild like aliens. Look, Martin, aliens are not off the table. I just want to let you know. Anytime you want to throw aliens into the mix, for some reason, I'm very excited. A lot to talk about. Never a dull moment. So you've joined us, and then this evening, I'm coming to you from St. Pete in a hotel room because that's where I'm coming to you from. I'm doing a grand opening tomorrow with Goldflower here in St. Pete. Incredibly exciting. Just so you know that there's a grand opening, St. Pete, Goldflower, tomorrow. First 50 at the door, very special goodies. That's it, and 40% off like all day. Crazy stuff. Okay, that's it. That's what's happening. That's who we are. Martin, would you like to introduce yourself and tell everybody who you are and what you do?
Good evening. My name is Martin Weiner. I am one of the partners involved with Omni Medical Services. We're a medical marijuana physician service with locations in Florida and 5 other states, and getting ready now going to Kentucky, where Kentucky has just allowed medical marijuana. We are also in Illinois, Ohio, Pennsylvania.
That's a lot. That's a lot of coverage. And that's Omni. That's Omni Medical.
That's Omni Medical Services. If you want to look for us, you can find us at omnidoctors.com. We are real cannabis doctors, real cannabis physicians. We believe in the product. We believe in its benefits. I can tell you from my own experience, I'm a type 1 diabetic. I've been a diabetic for going on over 60 years. And I've used cannabis for probably about 40 of them. And
wait, before you go on, I want to talk about that right now. That's incredibly important. See, when we sit there and prescribe medical cannabis, a lot of people who prescribe medical cannabis don't quite understand it. And now, here, you're coming at it from a different perspective. You're coming at it from where you're using it to help regulate your blood sugar. Tell us more. How are you using it? What are you using?
Well, I don't use it to regulate my blood sugar so much. I'm on a continuous glucose monitor pump. So my pump is connected to a sensor on my body that will tell it the blood sugar, and it will give me insulin if I need it. And the only time I add it is when I use it for meals. However, when I use it for, and it's very, very effective, is I have neuropathy, which I've had for quite a long time, and I suffer no pain. I don't get the tingles. I don't get the pain. Some of the other side effects, not of cannabis, but of diabetes, I do get, and it helps me with them. And I'd be the first to tell you that the medical use of marijuana, they're only beginning to find the uses of it. Sometimes.
Well, right. No, you're absolutely right. We're right at the beginning, right at the forefront. Even though there's 30 years of research that is just now coming to light. And it's not just coming to light. I've been researching and studying cannabis most of my adult life. And that's so to say how long that would actually be, like that. I mean, I've been studying cannabis over 20 years. Over 20 years I've dedicated to looking up, studying, following, being a part of cannabis, whether it be growing or studying the phenotypes of the plants and trying to find landrace strains. I enjoy, and I have encompassed my entire life around it, including my healing. So you use it to help you eat. You use it to, so just to let you know, THCV, the extended hydrocarbon found in sativas, it can help regulate the blood sugar. And I know you may think, how? Eating it raw, making tea from it. Then we're dealing with CBGA, the mother of all cannabinoids, in her acidic form, or even if you're going to smoke it, from what I understand, it can help curb hunger. So now through the smoking of it and the quick effect of it, it helps shape how you're like, you're still hungry, but you're not overly hungry. Your body's, and when I eat it raw, look, I eat it raw. And now we're talking about magnesium and manganese and omega-3 and omega-6 and protein and fiber, and wow, now we're talking wild stuff. But it's helping, it's getting into your gut flora. It's getting into your stomach. Look, I've told you there's so much to get into cannabis. We have to unlearn and relearn. And that's where we're at. So you're using it health-wise. And I mean, so in that progression of it, I mean, how did you come across cannabis?
I came across cannabis going back to 1967.
Wow.
When I was
just like yesterday.
I beg your pardon? Just like yesterday.
I said just like yesterday.
Just like yesterday. I was a senior in high school. I went to one of my friend's houses. We went in the basement where he had all the paint and everything, and we were smoking joints. And that's how I got introduced.
Back then, did you feel like they were indicas, or was something more indica leaning? Or do you? I mean, okay, because the reason I'm asking you, you were mentioning it earlier, how the stuff isn't the same, and how cannabis has evolved. So how do you feel like it's evolved since then to now? What you were smoking?
Well, it wasn't controlled back then to the extent that it is now, especially in the medical side. However, the entourage effect of cannabis back then was way better than it is now. Or maybe
I agree.
Maybe I was just younger and appreciated it differently.
Well, I mean, it's interesting. I was reading an article today that really swayed me in a certain way. I mean, about terpenes and flavonoids and the profiles, and it's really how they hit you, how strong and rich the terpenes are. You have botanical terpenes; they're not quite the same. And so when you're saying, now the weed is prettier. I mean, you look at it, cannabis is really good looking. I mean, the bag appeal that, for example, where I'm promoting for right now and have a brand partnership with Goldflower, not only is their bag appeal amazing, you open it, the terps, the smell, the initial poof that hits you, and the freshness of it. Oh, just look, I get excited. I get excited right now. I'm actually smoking. So since I'm in the hotel, I can't smoke flower. I mean, I smoked like right before the show. I smoked like 2 joints in the car, and I was smoking the Mount Hood Magic, which is a hybrid leaning sativa. Wow, uplifting, just empowering. And by the way, I would normally be smoking during the show, but this evening I had to do it in the car beforehand. So starting the show, I was a little loopy. We got here, I was like, hey, Martin, it's going to be an awesome show. Don't worry about a thing. We're getting right into this. So what this is, we're a virtual smoke session. This is your opportunity to smoke with us. If you've got it, smoke it, roll it. throw it in the pipe. If you got a little bit of hash, smoke a little bit of hash. Hash is fantastic. So you had a lot.
You got a little bit of hash.
Experienced more hashish back in your days. Back in your days.
If you get a little hash, send me some.
I wish Florida is coming around. I'm not going to say who, but there are providers out there that I believe have forms of bubble hash approved via the MMU and out there in the market. So, I mean, it's very impressive. Not the hash. The hash isn't impressive. I mean, it's like the batter. So batter is really quite nice. If you get a good rosin batter, a good single source, fresh press batter, that's really the best way to go. I try to stay away from chemicals. I try to stay as natural as humanly possible, even when I vape. So you're smoking flower today. What are you smoking?
I can tell you where it's from, but I can't read the label. But hold on a second, because
it's all right, because take your time, figure it out. I'm actually smoking on some rosin.
I have very poor eyesight, so what I have to do.
I'm squinting. Look, don't feel bad. I'm squinting as well, trying to see. I can't see anything. This is rosin that I got from Goldflower, and this one is Top Gun. It's a sativa. It's absolutely 100%. What do you have there?
This is my favorite flower. It's called Spritzer.
Oh, Spritzer! You must have gotten that from True Leaf.
Nope, Vitacan.
Vitacan. That's it. Sorry, I didn't even mean to mention their name, but Vitacan's okay. They're now becoming Planet 13.
Yes, they are.
So they have a little merger, but Spritzer is interesting. That's a sativa as well, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Hey, another sativa head. I love it.
This one's about 29% THC.
So wow. Is that total cannabinoid, or is that just THC?
That's not including the cannabinoids.
Wow, look at that. That's actually pretty high. Anytime that you're sitting at 29%, I consider that a pretty healthy number. I mean, I say that's you don't want to go. I mean, you do. I mean, in a sense, you do. When I say that, I can smoke something that's 15%, and it will blow me away. The same strain I've also had in, say, 30%, and I was like, "Woo, hi, holy shit!" But then I was like, "Oh, it didn't last as long as I thought it should. It didn't taste as good as it should have." When you get that high in terps, sometimes you lose in other things. But sometimes, again, great strains, high terps and high THC is really, I look for more of the high terps, high flavor, high initial flavor. That's become the big deal. But 29% is awesome. And this is, I don't know. I want to say THC is around maybe 80%, maybe more. It might be more. I just don't know. So I'm guessing. And I had the box, but it has disappeared.
Yeah. So I think most of the better vape cartridges are anywhere from 80 to 90. But
they are.
Again, just like flower, you get some in the 70s that still would be very effective, very good, taste good. Really do the job, I guess. Good way to put it.
I think we're always looking for flavor. A lot of people go to distillates because they want it fruity. They want it piney. They want those flavors overly wow, like every time they take a hit. And remember, those are botanicals, those are chemicals. Those are not if you're going to go more natural, more organic, I would recommend rosin. Now, resin is I guess resin is what, fresh frozen, pressed? No, it's not, because rosin can be fresh frozen as well. So resin is with botanical terpenes added. Rosin, nothing is added. With rosin, look how beautiful and clear that is. Look, it won't move. It's thick. It's thick and gelatinous. Gorgeous it is. Gorgeous, I tell you. So
and my vape cartridges are mostly live rosin.
Okay, that's all I will vape. I won't vape anything else, only because I used vaping to help me quit smoking, only because of the feel that it kind of gave me, and I was able to replace nicotine because nicotine took forever to quit. Oh,
Well, I can tell
so
you
you
without mentioning the name of the dispensary. There's a dispensary around the corner from my house that runs specials on live rosin carts where they sell them two for $30. Yes, I mean that's unreal.
no. And you know something? These are places that you're going to get. Look, you get what you pay for. And I was one of those that promoted, uh, as you know, many different people.
Hmm.
I've worked for a few different companies, and look, like I said, I won't work for anybody that I won't smoke. And all of the companies that are still out there, I would still smoke them on a budget, like an extreme budget. But when I say you pay for what you get, you it gets cheaper in quantity. I mean, if you're buying an eighth at a time or 2/8 at a time, that gets expensive no matter where you go. Because everywhere you go, it's like $40 an eighth, 45 an eighth, and nobody gives deals for the more you buy. I remember, listen, I remember back in the day, you go back to the gray area marketplace, and when you went to go buy cannabis, um, wasn't you didn't say cannabis, I mean, but when you went to go buy cannabis and you went to your guy or your girl or they, them, whatever it might be, um, you'd ask for, get a little quarter. And you get the quarter. I'm like, well, let me have 2 quarters. And he goes, okay, I'll cut a little off the price. I'm like, something, let me just get an ounce. He would cut that price. I'm like, that's what I'm talking about. Boom. A little fist bump. That was the boom. And then, you grab it, you grab it and go. So you got discounts. So you want to look for places that give you discounts.
Well, I find
Not
Florida. I'm sorry.
No, no, I
I
was going to say not giant discounts, not 50% off things, but the more you buy, if you buy an ounce, you should be able to get one of those good discounts to make it cost effective.
I know one company when I got into the business down here in 2017, and there was a company, I guess it was 2018, the first one, and they're no longer. I think they were bought out, but they were the first company I knew that if you bought an ounce, they discounted it like 40 or 50% from the eighth price, and then they got bought out, and they don't do it anymore. Uh, but I think Florida is kind of a race to the bottom as far as pricing right now.
So that's exactly what I've seen. You've got few companies out there who are challenging each other right now. This is the Florida market, by the way. If you're watching or listening later on a rebroadcast, we're speaking from the Florida medical marijuana market. I have a medical marijuana badge or card holder. So as we were allowed to consume and purchase depending on what our doctors have allowed. So actually, if can you really quickly I wanted this, and then I want to go back. I want to backtrack on when you first started smoking. Back you said 1967, and I want to talk about not really the difference in how it looks, but I'm going to use a strain specific and just think about it. But Colombian Gold, Colombian Gold was one of those ugly looking. It looked like weeds from the garden, and it was not the prettiest thing in the world.
Very
But
tasty.
wow,
Very tasty.
wow, yeah. So okay, before we get back into that, we're going to go back to 1967 in just a moment. What is the process? Can you explain to everybody the process in here in a medical market in Florida? What exactly they allow us to have? I mean, what you need to come to the doctor and kind of get things started.
Okay. When we run our clinics are not brick and mortar like a regular doctor's office. We rent space on an as needed basis, and it's always in the same locations. But we do all our appointments are actually appointments. You make an appointment with us. You go to the website, or you call us. You make an appointment. You come to the clinic. You see the doctor. The doctor is there to help you. We are very, very. One of my partners is a cannabis doctor and a cannabis lawyer, and back when they first started the K forms in Florida, every time we found a condition that we wanted to see if it could be covered, he would do the research. We would call it K form. We currently cover approximately 40 different conditions. And if we find something that we can do, we'll make a K form for it if it's possible. But we're there to help you. Our prices are not the highest, they're not the lowest, but you get.
So how much now? The state charges what? The state has a fee.
They charge $75 for the card per year. Our appointments are, well, right now, for instance, in Boca Raton, we just opened a location down here. For a new patient, we charge $150, and that covers the 210 days of product and your recommendation. There are no hidden fees. We do exceptions at no charge. There's no upcharge for it.
And exceptions. So the state allows 2.5 ounces for 70 days. Is it 70?
35 days.
30. Okay, thank God. I don't know why I was thinking it was 70 days. Well, I was having like little heart palpitations over here because
70 days is the normal cycle for the period that it covers. However, for flower, is every 35 days. And with the exception, for instance, myself, I am able to get 4 ounces every 35 days. The caveat is the state controls how you get it, so you can only get so much at one time, and you sometimes have to wait a week before you can get more, depending on where you fit in the 30-day cycle, 35-day cycle.
Well, if you're like me, I mess it up constantly, only because I go into a lot of different dispensaries, and because I'm testing other people's product, I'm testing our product, I'm testing both people's product at the same time, just to make sure that everything's okay. You've got to do a lot of testing, and in that amount of testing, my buying habit, like I'll go to one dispensary and buy an eighth, and another dispensary and buy an eighth, and then I'll buy. And lately, buying pre-rolls has messed me up. So I just want to let you know, if you're listening and you're in the Florida market and you like pre-rolls, like me, I love pre-rolls. Like I love somebody else had rolled it for me.
To me, I think a little differently in that regard. I look at pre-rolls as kind of being like the shake.
Well, no. See, I like that you said that. I judge every cannabis company by their pre-roll. To me, the pre-roll is the most important thing. This right here, look, if the company has a shitty pre-roll, then they have shitty weed, or they have a shitty eighth, or a short eighth, or their ounce is just crap, or their rosin's no good. I'm telling you, if their pre-roll is great, that means they're showing love to the rest of their products. And I'm not going to tout, the brand partnership I'm in with right now, because I don't want to be like, hey, by the way, the company that I mentioned earlier, everything's hand rolled. It's a hand roll machine. You don't pack cones. You take it from the big buds, not even the small buds. You got to make sure, look, Martin, here's the big deal. Here's the big one. All these companies are giving you, not just are you getting the shake, and if you are getting the small buds, those small buds have already been run through a roller where they're taking off all their trichomes. Okay, they're taking off all the icky, sticky, beautiful stuff that puts that bud together and makes it so amazing with all those different cannabinoids right there. They're taking away so much, and then they're rolling whatever they have left. So where I am brand ambassadoring at the moment, it's none of it's trim. It's all big. It comes from the big buds that are hand trimmed, living soil, organic. This is what you want in your pre-roll. Just gorgeous, beautiful flower broken down and rolled by a hand rolling machine. So you don't have cones that it's stuffing. You have a hand rolling machine and half roll. It makes a big difference. And that's why you don't like pre-rolls, because you haven't had amazing pre-rolls. I like to roll my own. And I did. I've got the Mountain Hood Magic in the car that I rolled myself like 5 joints today, and they're like half-gram pinners, a half-gram pinner.
Oh, really good. They're like
but they're delicious. But in that, I would rather somebody roll it and put a filter on it. You know, not that I'm going to get anything in my mouth from my rolls. My rolls, I use a dollar bill. So I make a boat out of the dollar bill and I put my weed in there and then I'll put the paper in there and I'll just do a little, pre-roll.
We buy these we get these papers that have like a built-in filter.
Really?
Yeah.
Fancy. Look at you. Built-in filters.
My son does it for me, so I'm not 100% sure if it comes that they come with it. But I know
okay.
They have a filter almost like a cigarette, but it's not that kind of filter. It's
interesting. But no, it's like, I bet it's like a rolled cardboard thing of sorts where it doesn't allow, it'll catch some of the rosin so that doesn't all get into your mouth. It catches some of the particulate matter. Yeah, look, love it. Cones, as long as the material going in is excellent material. I tell people
cones are the way to go, but cones use a lot of weed.
Well, if they're done right. And I say that because, look, I love to hand roll, but a cone, usually you're going to pack things in there. Now, if it's good weed, that's the big difference. If it's still a little sticky, if it's still got that, because it packs better. And that way it kind of, it doesn't combine. You do it gently, so you want to leave air chambers. I love cones. Cones are great. But I've been getting into these very thin, incredibly thin, no chemicals, no nothing papers. I guess that's my organic approach to cannabis.
It's very
kosher. I think they're kosher though. Listen, the papers are kosher. I'm just going to throw that out there. The rabbi's like, listen, he's smoking unkosher. It needs to be kosherized. Look, I'll have a rabbi come bless all of my weed. I'll be like, listen, I'm just going to put it all on the table. Just, can we do a quickie just to, wouldn't that be something? That would be a business. That would be a business.
It could be.
Set up rabbis just to go around blessing people's stuff, like, mobile to go. I'll be there in a moment. Don't get all upset. Oh my God.
That's funny.
So you get a card and you guys help with the card.
Yes, we help with the card. We're very educational oriented. We're very serious about what we do. Not everybody that comes in will get a certification. If we don't think it's appropriate for them to get one, we won't charge them, but we won't give them one.
Okay, no, that's fair.
Situations like that.
Not everybody needs cannabis. And it's funny you say it like that, but it's, if they don't qualify. But I find it rare and far and few between where I've found people that don't need it. Look, life gives us PTSD, jobs, traffic, social anxiety. And that's another one to talk about because, wow, what we are dealing with these days with social media. And look, here we are on social media and I'm talking about it, but I am. And it's the truth. We survive off of it. This is not like back in the, 1967. So when you were getting a hold of weed, and let's go back, we're gonna travel back and forth here, but you guys help facilitate the card. Not everybody gets qualified. You have a group of doctors, I imagine, that are quite astute.
Our doctors are some of the, to me, and I'm a little bit jaded, our doctors are some of the best around.
Okay.
I've interviewed several of them before they even get to the second tier, and I'll be honest with you, if I don't think they're right, I'll just tell my partner, you can talk to them, but I don't think they're right. Because I want somebody that can relate to the patients, somebody that can answer their questions, make them feel comfortable. When you walk out of our clinic, you have to be walking out with a smile. What I happen to do down here is we have a location down here that we use that has an
where are you? Where are you right now? You're in Boca, right?
Yeah, in Boca Raton.
Okay. Oh, fancy schmancy, Boca.
Well,
I love Boca. You come on down there, it's nothing but palm trees. It's nothing but like Teslas and Rivians and those funky Tesla trucks. I don't even know what that space looking. It looks like a moon truck. It looks like something that should be on the moon. And I don't know. I'm waiting for a guy in a spacesuit to jump out and be like, oh shit, wrong place.
When you come to our clinic, the way it's set up, The place has one of these Keurig type coffee machines that grinds the coffee and makes you a cup of coffee. And I bring in donuts for the patients. You come in and
Wow, look at you. You're definitely a Boca doctor. Look at this. This is like you come in, we have pastries, we have fresh ground coffee, which I did hear. Listen, you were right by saying that. Something fresh grinding your coffee. I just want to mention it. So some random information that I learned from Dr. Ralph Rofi in Clearwater, or Largo, or Clearwater, or let's just say Largo. I'm loving that. So he was telling, he's big in the coffee, and he roasts his own coffee. I'm like, what are you talking about? So he explained to me. I know we're going to get back to it, but once you grind your coffee, it's only good for 10 minutes. Like
it's actually
the coffee,
makes the cup for you, automatic.
I love that.
And
it grinds it right there, makes you a cup. Very bougie.
And you have on this machine, you have 3 or 4 different choices of what you want. So it makes it for you, and then you add whatever you want to it. And we offer donuts, and patient comes in, we want them to feel comfortable. We want them to feel comfortable, but we also want them to feel like they're going into a doctor's office. And it's, as nice as it is, it's professional. We're there to answer questions. My son and I my son is the manager of the clinic. I happen to be like scenery. I'm just there to be there.
You've laid down the tracks for him to come in and kind of, make sure. I mean, look, you're still an overseer. You are still the knowledge, the energy that keeps things going. So I think don't underplay yourself, because your voice is an extra voice that's helping people, getting the attention that that cannabis needs, medical cannabis. So I'm sidetracking again, I know, but excuse me, not enough people in Florida are part of the medical program. Now, first, I'm going to ask you why. Why do you think this is happening? Now, I'm going to tell you why it's happening. But please.
You're asking me?
Yeah.
Can you repeat the question?
Why? Why don't we have more people in the medical cannabis program in Florida? More patients. Why is the patient list declining? Why are we losing people that need the medication? Why? Please, I'll.
Well, I think part of it is the pricing on some of the products, the pricing for the card, the fact that when you're in Florida, you're so close to the Southern Hemisphere that a lot of the stuff that comes up into the country comes through Florida. So there's a lot of black market in Florida, and black market has kind of made itself competitive with the medical market.
I think more down south, or Miami, where things have been so relaxed.
Absolutely.
I mean, when we start getting Boca, Miami, but then again, look, the markets that need it, 20-year-olds, 30-year-olds are going to find weed when they need to find weed. All right. But 50-year-olds, 60-year-olds, 70-year-olds, 80-year-olds, 90 plus, these people are not buying. They're not buying from the gray area marketplace. They're not buying from some schmuck. I mean, they are. They're buying from a friend of a friend of a friend. I'm just saying, they're getting it somewhere, but not as often. They are, they don't know what they're buying. They don't know what they're medicating with. They don't know what the strains are or the terpenes. They have no clue when you start talking to them about the different cannabinoids, because they're like, look, I just roll a joint and I go to sleep. But sometimes, and that's great, and it's great that it's helping there. But what are you smoking? Because right now on the gray area marketplace, I've heard of things where things are laced with fentanyl. They're laced with flavors or chemicals to compete
Well, that's the number one reason to go to medical group. That is the number one reason, because even back in my day, things were laced, but they weren't laced with fentanyl.
No,
They laced it with,
PCP or
not even that. They cut it with something just to make it go further. You're talking back then when you would buy stuff, you would truly find stuff like oregano in your bag.
okay. Look, you're probably thinking orange, like orange said, it was laced with so many different things. I'm like, yeah, PCP. You're thinking, holy shit, Oren, what were you smoking? What was going on? No, I wasn't smoking. No, I did not. I mean, I have partaked in previous things in the past that were combined together, but we're talking about things.
Yeah.
Maybe, and that was done because I know what it was. But in that, cannabis was never really a catalyst to elevate. It just helped elevate everything else. It just helped create a balance with everything else. For example, and I'm very honest. I'm straightforward. I'm a big advocate for mushrooms. I think psilocybin therapy can be, and now when I say mushrooms, when I do mushrooms, hello, I just said I do mushrooms. Hi, how you doing? I do it as a chocolate. So I make chocolate and I do 100 or 200, 300, 400 milligram bars. But I microdose. I know, like, that's a big bar. Well, it is 4 grams in a bar, but I microdose. So if I do a bar, it's got a bunch of pieces in it. It doesn't just have psilocybin. It's got chogra, lion's mane. It's got a combination of different mushrooms to help with circulation, to help with my immune system, to help with to help my body accept things. And in that, it's the combination. So again, it's not just cannabis on its own, it's cannabis and the combination. So that was my
Yeah, most people do not know that the federal government is doing quite a bit of research with microdosing of psilocybin and mushrooms.
Huge amounts right now. I mean, I've seen so many programs, so many different programs right now mentioning, but okay. For example, very interestingly, here in St. Pete, there's a store selling mushrooms on Central Avenue in their store, and it says mushrooms. So this is where it gets interesting. It is the same psilocybin mushroom with the psilocybin taken out. Can you do that?
I'm not sure.
I'm not sure either. But that's what they're doing. So you may ask, Oren, have you tried their products? I'm like, yeah. It was lovely. I mean, be careful.
I've not run into that down here, but I'd be interested in trying it. I've certainly done when I did mushrooms, we used to do a handful.
It was different. You ate it, it tasted terrible, or you make a tea, it still tasted terrible.
It tasted terrible, but I was never out of control.
No.
Always very
wild. No matter how many you took, though, never. And even now, when I have dabbled and eaten too much because the chocolate bars were very tasty, never out of control. So instead, it's a very different feeling. I think it gets a bad rap. One of my shows I did, I took quite a few. It was early on. I would say like a year ago, in the podcast, but it was a live podcast, and I did maybe 3 grams of mushrooms, just to show people that, because that's why I like to get high on the show. I like to show people that I'm not, out of my mind. I'm in control. I'm still able to talk and understand and be intellectual enough. I said enough, not too much, just enough. But that's it. We give cannabis a bad rap. We think, oh, you're high, you can't talk. You're high, you can't converse with somebody. You can't have an opinion. Let me tell you something. cannabis used properly elevates your taste buds, elevates your creativity, your thought process, your direction of of who and where you want to be without the weight of life weighing you down. That's how I see cannabis. That's where it's medication for all. I mean, I use it for arthritis. I use it for fibromyalgia. I use it for neuropathy. Yeah, my body's confused. Neuropathy and fibromyalgia. It's just like one hurts and one is numb. It's very confusing. But that's why I do this, because I find healing and I find an ease in life because of cannabis. So I try to promote the educational side of it, like making tea. Look, the older I get, I can't smoke as much as I used to smoke. So I have to. That's why when you start talking quality, and you said I can go down the street and get two for like 30, right? Was that what it was? You can get two resin or rosin carts for $30, or that's so cheap, so cheap. But if I smoke that stuff, that 2 for 30 crap, I'm going to be coughing. I'm going to be hacking out a lung. I mean, because it's quality that I'm looking for. Well, and when I say that, quality doesn't make me cough.
That's true.
Flour and rosin.
You have to know your limitations too. It's important.
Well,
I'm not talking about limitations on how much, but how it affects you with coughing, things like that. I mean,
well, no, so interesting you say that. I just want to show this. I showed this a moment ago. This is what I'm loading into the bowl. It is a gorgeous, beautiful, lovely crumble. I really love crumble. Crumble is just one of the forms of a concentrate. You've got sugar and crumble and batter and shatter. I don't like shatters. I like batter. I like jam. I like what's coming out now, which I keep calling it full throttle, but it's not. It's such a fine product that it must be kept cold, always, or it might become unstable. It's not room temperature. Jam is. The jam I'm very excited about as well. But I like jam. I like crumble. And you'll see, let me just show you. For those of you who can't see, I'm showing some, some dropped out. I'm going to have to pick that up and smoke it because it fell. And, that's just how it is. Sorry, just chasing after, because it's expensive here in Florida. You don't want to lose any product. So if that's going to roll away, I'm chasing it. I'm like, oh my God, there it goes. Let me get that. But that was crumble right there. And crumble, it's glistening. Its trichomes are beautiful. The aroma. I want to tell you right now what I'm smelling.
I can smell it through the camera.
Oh, well, can you smell this through the camera? Let me just. Look at that. Isn't that really nice? Can you see that?
Oh yeah, I can see
that
it.
Right there is a really beautiful quality product. And I mean, it's citrusy. I mean, you can see it. And in the citrus, it's lemon, it's orange, it's limonene. It's limonines, you're piney. It's piney. What is this? I don't even know what it is. I'm so excited about it.
See, for me, I'm an old guy. That gets a little too complicated for me.
Well, I want to show you how it gets easier. And I'll have to smoke it outside later. But this right here is a Puffco Proxy. The Proxy, and by the way, again, I don't know why it always comes in, but I'm always pumping them, and I don't get paid by them. So Puffco, if you hear this,
what's it called?
Just want to let you know, it's a Proxy. Look at this thing. It looks like a let me just close that for a moment. Now it looks like not a James Bond. It looks like a oh, hello, how are you? It looks like a Sherlock Holmes kind of pipe.
Sherlock Holmes, yes.
Yeah, but this is an electronic pipe, and the reason I love this thing, twofold. That crumble just now, I put in a small amount into this top chamber, and I don't know if you can see that. You see, it's not very much, is it?
Oh.
I mean, it's really quite small. If you see like size comparison, I'm putting it back here. Now I'm putting it right up to the screen. There we go. And it was kind of a dirty bowl already, but I didn't want to get rid of the beautiful terpy stuff that was inside of there. Because here's the thing, when you do a dab, you're doing it very high heat and you're burning off all the beneficial cannabinoids. When you do a dab, you're burning all the flavor, everything right off of it. And you can only do that amount right there would be half of what somebody does in a dab. Half of what they do in a dab is what I just put in. And I'll show you how I do this. I can do this for 3 different sessions. So instead of doing one dab and blowing my endocannabinoid system out the water, like I'm overfilling a cup at that point and getting overly high, that it's just blood-brain barrier crossage at that point. This way, I put it on low and I sip it. I'm like, so I'm not doing it hard, I'm doing it gentle. And as soon as I take it in, I exhale. You don't have to hold it in. There's no cough. At the low temperature, now, if you do start to cough a little bit or feel it, that means the product is now burnt and now ready for a cleaning with a Q-tip. One Q-tip, one side, boom, 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 done while it's still warm. Throw it away, bowl is clean, ceramic bowl ready for the next thing. The reason I'm telling you about this, because you need to do concentrates. You would love it, not just for flavor, but for the long-lasting effect of it. So when I'm smoking flower, I love flower, but no matter how I do flower, it's always recreational. I say this because I'm not getting the cannabinoids. I'm not getting CBGA. I'm not getting THCA in her acidic form. I'm not getting CBCs or CBNDs or blah, 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 blah. I'm not getting any of it. Instead, I'm just getting high. When I burn it, it's whether it be in a joint or in a pipe, I'm hitting temperatures of 1,000, 1,500, 2,000 degrees. Cannabis starts to decarboxylate at 250 degrees. 250. So we're blowing cannabis up. And you're not even getting anything beneficial. So when I talk cannabis, and if you want to smoke cannabis properly, without a lighter, without butane contamination, without high heat, I bring you the Puffco Proxy. And I'm going to bring this to you. I'm going to come hang out. We're going to do mushrooms.
I'm great.
And we're gonna smoke out of the Proxy. And so
If
this thing right here, this thing, low heat. So I put in that small amount, I close the chamber, and there's a button. They do make the button a bit difficult to find. It's on the side. I'm just going to show you. Dun, dun. Can you see that? Right there. There's a button. There we go. So you could feel it, like when you feel the thingy. So you press that twice. This obviously is for the vision impaired, because if you can't see, you just got to feel around for it like a genie. Like you got to rub the pipe like Aladdin. Not Aladdin. Was it Aladdin with the genie in the pipe? Yes, it had to be. It was Aladdin. So you got to rub the pipe. No, there's no rubbing. There's a little button, and you press it twice. That's it. I have it set to low already. So when this heats up, it'll light up. I don't want to do it now until I'm inside the hotel, or the motel. Hotel, motel, no-tel. Actually, it's days in. Just want to throw that out. It's nice. It's not bad. Just decent place. Okay. So
I can tell you a little anecdotal story.
Yes.
Because you're talking about smoking or doing too much or too little. I think it was the first year I was doing the doctor service. I used to give my card out with my number, and patients would call me with questions, and that was fine. I get a call one day from an older couple. I get the husband calling me, and the wife has Parkinson's. So we recommended vape cartridges, because back then vape cartridges were all you could get. That was the market. That was the market. I get a call from him saying he's frantic. My wife is hyperventilating. I don't know what to do. Should I bring her to the emergency room? What should I do? I said, tell her to relax. I'll take a ride out there and see if I can help you out, which I would not do today, but I did back then. Probably because I didn't know better. I go out there, I meet the
Didn't
couple,
go better.
and I said, "Tell me what happened." Well, this was an older couple, and her daughter and son-in-law were there, and her son-in-law told her to do big hits off the vape pen, and it would help her better.
Oh, wow.
So I looked at her and I said, "I'm going to be honest with you. Whether you do a little hit or a big hit, for you, it's going to do the same thing. It's going to stop." And the husband looked at the son-in-law with dagger eyes. With dagger eyes. It was kind of comical to watch. And of course the woman was very, you know, she was happy because, here she's only doing what she's told to do. And she's sitting there thinking, "Oh my God, this is not really what I want to be doing." And when I told her, I said, "Just do a small hit, do like a second, 1 second. That's all it takes. That's all you need." She did it in front of me. She was shaking. She did it in front of me, and I would say within 4 or 5 minutes, the shake stopped. And they'll stop as long as what she's doing is effective. I said, when it starts to wear off, do another one. If it makes you feel comfortable, that's all you need. And that's that story.
No,
it went to show.
First, I want to say thank you, because people getting into cannabis don't get that. They don't get that support. They don't get that understanding. And when you get into pharmaceutical drugs, there is no support. There is no understanding when they are overwhelming you. Cannabis, really, once you start getting used to it and your body assimilates it, you don't get that overwhelming, oh my. But for somebody just getting into cannabis and to be comforted and nurtured in to a program that is teaching them to use it differently, that's teaching them to people get into cannabis when they learn about the stories. They learn about how it can help other people. You use it to help you eat. You use it to help you sleep. You use it to, I use it to help me eat or sleep or not eat. My problem is I don't need to eat. I smoke sativas. And people learn through the stories of cannabis. And I want to mention that's what this show is. This show is the stories of cannabis. It's learning how to use it properly, differently. Not that you're using it wrong, just maybe you need a little different direction in it. I used cannabis my whole life. When I say that, my younger life, and I say I used it wrong. I was smoking mostly indicas because that's what was available on the gray area marketplace. And that's, again, why I'm going back to why I was asking, do they know what they were smoking? Do they know what they were going through? I was dealing with depression. And I was dealing with just growing up. When you deal with depression, you deal with very dark moments. And smoking indicas didn't help me. Smoking indicas didn't give me an uplifted feeling. They relaxed me, but they over-relaxed me. And I have issues when I say that. My body was relaxed, my muscles were relaxed, but my brain was going a mile a second. So I now was anxious and I felt crazy. Like my body wouldn't move, but my brain was, but my body's like, I can't do anything. Can't even get off that couch. It's ridiculous. I was going to sit here and eat another whole pizza and watch another couple movies and play some more games and just not care. And I didn't care. I had no motivation.
See, I've always looked at it as just a way to take in the world around me and just feel like part of it. And I know that sounds kind of hokey, but it's really the way I feel. I felt that way most of my life doing this, and I feel the same way now. I just like taking what's around me and feel comfortable with it.
No, and that's your journey of it. Look, I did that. I used to hike. I used to love to go hiking on my own. I would be out there in the middle of nowhere, and I would smoke the whole way. I would just take in the air, the sound, the sights. I mean, it would be incredible. Yes. But what changed me was the community of cannabis. Look, it was my friends that smoked, my friends' friends that smoked. It was other groups that I was brought into because, I was okay with cannabis. So they were like, hey, why don't you come over and smoke? Because we have something in common. And I would learn new things all the time, but I never learned really about the cannabinoids. I never really learned about CBN being a bone growth stimulant. Yes, slow, but it can help stop the degradation of things like osteoporosis. I never learned about THCV, the extended hydrocarbon, to again help regulate blood sugar in the body, or regulate eating habits, or eating it raw can help the microbiome of the stomach and change the way your metabolism processes throughout the body and how you process energy. That's what I'm saying. When I started getting unlearning and relearning cannabis, it was
Well,
the community that helped me.
I think when
And
you're starting to educate people, and this is my own personal feeling, I think the way you start with people in a way that they can relate to it is just to talk about the endocannabinoid system. Because when you talk about the endocannabinoid system and how the cannabinoids interact with it, people can kind of picture it in their mind when you tell them about their cells and their body, and when you're smoking, how the cannabinoids. If you're getting what I'm saying.
no. And that's why we talk about tea.
No
That's
experience
actually
there.
where I introduce people. We talk about the CB1, the CB2, and then the combination of the two working together being a CB3. So
Yeah,
we
but
do.
see, when I talk to somebody, I don't get into that in the beginning. I certainly don't get into that on that level
But
because
that's why we need a community
use
to
them.
sit and talk about it. You don't have time to be able to do that. I mean, you give them such basics, good basics, and starting slow and working their way up. And what you're doing is amazing. But when they start to learn so much more about it, remember, cannabis is a superfood. It's not just a super material, it's a superfood.
But we also live in a world today where people have the internet. If they're interested and they want to know, it's not hard to find. So it's really giving them the direction on where to look if they're looking, to keep them interested in what, it's one thing if they're going to come in just to get, a card so they can get some pot. And that we know that happens. It's part of what it is. But the people that are truly using it for medical use are interested in how it affects them. And if you can get them on the right track, I think that's where you start.
Okay. And yes, but in recreational use, with education, we become a better consumer. We become more medical. And I say this, I use it recreationally, but I use it medicinally. And I use it as such at the same time.
Well,
When
I think when recreational, certainly when it becomes legal,
not
that
the
is the way it'll be marketed. That will be the way it'll be marketed as something that, let's say, for lack of a better word, something that's good for you.
Look, I am already of that mindset that it is something that is good for you. But yes, because they want it more acceptable.
Yes.
But in that, and it could, because look, something acceptable sells better. It's more digestible for the public. So when you bring recreational to the public, eventually, you're going to want to. You're right. That's how we're going to sell it to them. But not necessarily. Look, I take the buds, and I show people it's not just about smoking. You want to start working on your stomach. You want to start working on your gut flora. You're not going to get there smoking. That's why I said I want to get you in the concentrates and show you how different of a high. Instead of getting high, we're getting high, and we're staying there and slightly touching on that regimen. So I don't do a dab all day. Oh no, I will smoke that pipe, maybe itsy bitsy in the morning, a little bit of sativa, and then maybe by the afternoon I'll have a gummy, maybe. But gummies don't affect me the same way. For some reason, gummies make me tired.
I
But
use gummies to go to sleep.
right.
That's
No
the
matter
only.
what. But now, okay, Does flavor make a difference to you?
Well, only if it's a flavor I don't like.
Well, no. Well, no. I mean, if it's a blueberry gummy
Oh,
or a
I don't really. It does. I mean, it's funny you should say that because there's a couple of flavors. Like one of the companies had a one that was green apple. I can't stand green apple, so no.
well, no. I don't like green apple. Actually, I had an apple kiwi. That was delicious,
Yeah.
and it was made with pectin. That's a big deal. I don't know if you've been really looking into it lately, but when you look into cannabis edibles, a lot of them are made with gelatinous gels and things that take a while to digest once they hit your stomach. But if it's made with a pectin, it's going to break down quickly and get directly into your bloodstream. So you don't lose out on those beneficial cannabinoids. Your liver will process out some things, but not as much because it's getting into the bloodstream. And then it's going to get into your stomach, whatever's left. Pectin is a big deal. It's a food source. The body accepts it as a food source. So,
Well, it is a food.
well, it is. You're like, well, it is a food. But so, where have you been buying your edibles? While you tell everybody about your edibles, or you make your own? Ooh, we got to talk about that too.
I'll make my
I'll
own.
be right back. You keep talking. Wait. I'm just going right over here.
Okay. Most of my
Right here. This door's open. I can hear you.
Okay, I hear. Most of my edibles I buy from a dispensary called Sanctuary, which is right around the corner from my house.
Ooh, yes. Price wise, listen. Price wise, they're on fire.
Well, they're the ones that sell the vapes for 2 for $30.
Well, okay, but that's a distillate. No, actually, it's not. That's a rosin.
They have live rosin. They have
Half gram. Yeah. But you know something? Okay, I'm going to tell you something about those. They clog. They don't pull right. I've never been able to get a good solid pull. Like their hardware, not their product. Their product is okay. I think their rosin is a little thin. I think their rosin is, when I say a little thin, like if I turn the pen upside down, it'll move real fast. Even if I warm this up a lot, it doesn't move. Like I just took a hit out of that, and that is just still solid and stable ceramic cart that makes a deal. Look, no metal carts, no metal pieces, no metal contamination.
Well,
there's so many variables.
I'll be more than willing to try it.
I'll bring different things to show you. We could do a podcast while I'm there, and just for fun, just for shits and giggles, or not. No podcast. We'll just smoke, and in that, when you do the concentrate, the reason I want you to try, concentrates have gotten a bad rap because everybody shows them in like one of those glass rigs with a propane torch and this, and oh my God, that's too much. That's ridiculous. What are they doing?
That's actually how I was introduced to concentrates.
Okay, so I'm glad you said that's the problem. People get introduced to it the wrong way. They get this is a concentrate. Right here, I'm doing a low temperature, no butane, very, very, very low combustion concentrate.
That's
full spectrum product.
Is that with a vape pen?
Yeah. And well, so on the bottom, there's a variable temperature control. So I can set it all the way to low or all the way to high. 4.6 volts, I think, is high. 3.2 or 2.7 is low. I'm guessing on the low. I think it's like a 2. It's like a 2 something. But high is like 4.7 or 4.5 or 4.8.
At 4.5, you'll burn through that cartridge pretty quickly.
You know something? Strangely, no. If it's a good, thick product, you will not. It depends who I'm smoking. And it's funny you said that because I will smoke other people's product and I will burn through it very quickly. Rosin, we're talking. Not distillate, not resin, rosin. So when that starts to happen, it depends on the inside of the cart, but you'll also start to burn the product. And then you could taste it and you're already destroying, your not just your future smoke, you're destroying the medicinal value. So when I look at, oh wait 1 second, we try this one more time. You were saying about your edibles. Go ahead.
I feel like I'm on late night television with the host moving away from the camera.
Okay, I went running away just like that. Let me. But that's the thing. If it's a good product, you're not going to burn it away. If it's a good product, no cough. I just took 3 very solid, very strong hits, maybe a little stronger than I should have. That's why I just kind of rolled back. I was like, woo! It's a party. Friday night, everybody. Welcome.
Sounds like fun.
But that's it. This is a Friday night session. This is everybody. So I just want to remind everyone, this is our first episode of Highly Motivated. We're going to talk about things. And I say things, we're going to come on the show and we're going to have the best of intentions to talk about a specific topic. And tonight's show is just an introduction, just a howdy, hello, hey, we're just chit-chatting. We're having a smoke session.
I am honored to be your first guest.
You are. This is fantastic. You know, I think people need to know that they have a choice to have a good doctor when they come into cannabis. They have a choice to get educated, or at least a good understanding and a good beginning direction when you talk about coming into cannabis, because you want to have a smiling face to welcome you at the doctor's office and at the dispensary. You want understanding, regardless of what age you are. You've got clients that really want better. They want more. They want to use cannabis as a topical, as a tea, as a smokable, as a concentrate. And the reason I love concentrates is because I don't have to smoke as much. The reason I love the concentrates is because I feel more balanced for a longer period of time. Late at night, I wake up a lot. I have restless leg. And the same leg all of a sudden has electrical charges that go shooting through it. It's absolutely mind-bending. And then it's on fire, but not a weird fire, like an electrical fire. I don't even know what's going on with my leg. And I can't touch it because I can't feel the outside skin. This is neuropathy and restless leg. It's restless leg because of the neuropathy, because of the nerve damage. So you would think, let's smoke an indica, but no, indica is mind and muscle, or muscle and relaxation, a sativa. And that's what I'm saying. When we learn about cannabis differently in a recreational market, you're not going to get this kind of direction. But if you do, now you're going to think differently when you go to shop. So, you know something, let me get a sativa this time. Let me get something high in THCV. Let me get a Durban Poison or a Colombian Gold. And this is why we're going to go back to the Colombian Gold. When my leg is on fire like that on the inside and I can't do it, I get out of bed, nothing helps. I've taken medications and they've just done different terrible things to me. I smoke a Durban Poison strain or a Colombian Gold strain. Even the distillate seems to help for me with the Colombian Gold because I can't find it. I would love to have a land race of some Colombian Gold, whatever. Or some Durban Poison. Oh. But in that, I will smoke a sativa high in THCV. And within moments, it stops. It stops. Nothing else has ever stopped it. I've used topicals. I've used capsules. I'm drinking tea. I chewed on the raw cannabis, and these things help in combination for other things, but not for the burning in my leg. I smoke a sativa and I go back to bed.
If I can give a little plug.
Go ahead. Please enjoy. Okay. This is our maiden voyage. This is, highly motivated. We're still going to motivate people.
For people that are interested in the types of conditions that cannabis can be used for, if they go to our Facebook page, it's Omni Medical Services Florida on Facebook. We put up, I would say weekly, 3 or 4 different types of conditions that cannabis will be effective for. And if you just go through our page and go all the way down, you will likely find whatever condition you're looking for, you will find. because we put it up there. We do that. We put it on LinkedIn. Though LinkedIn, we don't put quite as much as we put on Facebook. And if you go to our Twitter site,
You should. LinkedIn is very cannabis friendly. They have been very open and friendly and welcoming. And so thank you, LinkedIn, by the way. This is live on LinkedIn and live on the YouTube, and it'll be rebroadcast in other places later. So go to omnimedicalflorida.com, or what is it again?
Well, Omni Medical Services, well, it's facebook.com, Omni Medical Services Florida.
So check out Omni Medical Services. Look, they're going to have information for you on the qualifying conditions. And so once you get accepted and once you get a card, the state allows you only 2.5 ounces. So earlier you mentioned exemptions. So you give free exemptions. So what do you give your exemption up to? Because I want to let you know when I originally got one, and then it got lessened on me, but I was using a lot, but not that much. All right, go ahead. So how much do you give your exemptions for? We'll go for flower. We'll start with flower.
I've known people through my groups, and I don't think I would tell our doctors to do this, but one of the admins for one of the groups gets 8 ounces every 35 days.
What?
Now, and the state approved it.
That's way higher than anything I was even thinking.
And the state
I was like 6. I'm like, oh, you do 6? That's what I started at. And I thought I was really bougie, and I heard of somebody else at 8. I'm like, 8. Well, but that's a lot. Look, I mean, if I have the money for it, I would do it, but I would do it to eat it raw. I would make tea from it. And you can't do that with the flower here in Florida.
No.
Again, you can. There are very few. There's only maybe 2 right now. It has to be hand trimmed. No rolling machines, nothing like that. No rolling, no rolling, trimming, no removal of the trichomes for bubble hash later. Leave it alone. It's got to be organic. It's got to be living soil. It's got to be hand trimmed. So if you've got those 3 things, that makes a difference in your cannabis in Florida. And that you can make tea from. So when I teach people to make tea, this is a big deal. And that's why we would need 8 ounces. 8. That's a huge exemption. But in that, I can see if I'm making tea or eating it raw. And you have to have that sticky icky to the bud. You have to crack that open, and it has to like sing to you.
You're an unusual case, to be sure. Well, the person, for all I know, she could be using it for that, and maybe very well be.
But they don't. You're right. They're smoking big old blunts, and they're rolling it, and they're smoking it. But okay, I'll tell you why I got a larger rec though. And because originally I had 2.5 ounces, and I use 2.5 ounces every 35 days, respectively. And then DeSantis or whomever decided to change the way the MMU worked. And they turned into rolling. This was before, remember I had this before the rolling limit. Then they implemented what's called a rolling limit. And in that rolling limit, I was only allowed to buy so much at certain times.
Right.
So this was what I was going to explain. If you purchase, that's why I'm saying, look, I go to dispensaries every day. Every single day I'm at a dispensary somewhere else. And I buy an 8. I buy pre-rolls, and it screws up my rec. Because next month I have to buy, or the next 35 rolling days or 70 rolling days.
I think on the cumulative amount, the cumulative amount runs on 30-day cycles. Okay.
So at that, every 30 days, I have to buy relatively the same way. And that messes me up. Like the other day, there was a strain drop of El Chivo and old car smell. And this Top Gun, which is like the stinkiest, wow, so stinky, so cheesy, just skunky and cheesy, my favorite things about cannabis right there. It makes me smile just thinking about it. See, I don't even need terps. I just talk about it and I get happy.
That's what makes this a fun industry to be in.
Because it's exciting. But I went to go buy it and I couldn't buy it because they were like, oh, you only have point blah, 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 blah. You can't even get a pre-roll. Like, wait, I can't get a pre-roll. So they're controlling how much I'm allowed to buy. So originally when they did that to me at the 2.5 ounces, I couldn't ever buy any. So I had my doctor at the time, bump it up. And I requested 6 ounces. And my doctor was like, oh, sir, no, I don't want to get in trouble. We can't do that. And I said, let's try. You can't get in trouble if you just try. He goes, Oren, if we're going to try with anybody, we're going to try with you. Like, then do it. Let's do it. Yes. I'm like, but I don't want to get you in trouble. So I apologized ahead of time. And I'm like, look, if it gets denied, I'm not going to argue this. We're just doing it to see if we can do it. And he did it, and I got it. And then I never had a problem with the amounts that I was buying. Never. And then the last few times on my renewals, the doctors are looking at your rec and they're saying, okay, how much are you using? And they're saying, okay, you're using 4.5 ounces every 35 days. I'm like, really? That's a lot of weed. So we're going to drop it down to 4.5 ounces. I'm like, no, because then I won't be able to buy the same way. It's all because of the rolling limits. So do you find difficulties with that?
I think it's ridiculous, honestly. But I also kind of understand it, because I know some people that they would save it to the last day, and then the first day of the next one they would get the full amount again, and sometimes they would sell it. Sometimes they would consume
So I think that's what they were worried about, and that's why they implemented the rolling limits so they could stop people from selling it. It's expensive. Nobody really can sell it. I mean, on the medical market, we're not charging taxes. We don't get taxes charged, but it's $75 basically, or $77.90 a year to the state, $77.90, something like that to the state, and then pretty much $150 every 7 months to your doctors, give or take. And some are more. How much are you guys on renewal? Or
renewals are $130.
Okay, see, I said 150 every 7 months. You're at 130. That's about right. And so, but we don't charge tax. So as we approach a recreational market, you're also talking about a recreational tax.
Well, you're also talking in the doctor's end. There are plenty of doctors, and there are plenty of doctors that don't. But if you need your recommendation changed, they'll charge you. If you want
Yes. No, you're right. No, there are. I've heard a lot of them. You change your recommendation, you want an exemption. There are a few out there that, and that's why you've got to do your due diligence.
Yeah.
You have to.
There was a doctor out there that I believe was charging like $100 to get an exception. It's ridiculous. All they have to do is they send it to the state. The state decides whether they want to do it or not. They just do it when they're doing the appointment. It takes them really no time.
So there's if it's just a medical marijuana clinic and this is how they make their money, I can understand an administrative fee. Not $100. That's crazy. $20, $10. The time it takes the nurse to request it, do the thing, blah, 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 blah. Time is money. So I'm a time is money kind of understanding person. That's how I've grown up. So $10, maybe an extra fee later when you renew. Instead of 130, it'll be 140 this month because it was the $10 extra for your exemption. Realism. I'm a realist. I'm not something for nothing kind of guy. I understand everybody wants, and it's a business. Businesses need to survive. And in order to survive, you have to value yourself and value your product. And even if somebody were to say, hey, why are you charging me? I'm like, because it's an administrative fee. It's $10. What are you? This is what it is. It is what it is. I'm sorry, but nothing's free. You want me to do this for free? You want an exemption? It's a change. But people feel already taken by the doctor. Some doctors, some offices, because they don't educate, they don't teach. You come in, they're charging $350 on your initial visit. I'm not going to say who that is, but there are some out there doing so. And then on your renewals, it's like $200.
You know,
There's a,
where you're located now, we have a couple of clinics up that way.
do you?
And
Okay.
yeah, we have one in Clearwater, we have one in Tampa. And
You know,
we're
Tampa's a big deal.
we're going to be
Tampa's got to be a busy place for you guys.
we are going to be opening one in St. Pete because the doctor in Clearwater lives in St. Pete, so he wants to have one
Oh,
there.
does he? Okay. Well, we're the company I'm branding for. They already are here in St. Pete. And I've seen the options in St. Pete, and there aren't many. Like as far as great cannabis, I believe in smell, in taste, and phenotype hunting strains that are not just delicious, not just smell aromatically amazing, because that's also where the healing is. It's in the aromatics of it. The aromatics are huge. And I say this because when I'm breaking up cannabis, I'm breaking it up to roll a joint and I'm already smelling it. It's already putting me at ease. It's already opening up my mind to the flavors and smells and tastes. And if it's a sativa, it's a vasodilator.
When you
It's
think
going to open up the blood vessels and it's going to get the blood pumping. It's going to be like, right to those places I need it.
when you think about it, when you buy flower from the dispensary, I don't know about you, but most people I know, and including myself, you open the bottle, the first thing you do is smell it.
That's true. Now you should remove it from the packaging and put it in glass immediately.
Yeah.
Just my quick tip, take it out of the packaging no matter where you buy it. Take it out, put it in a mason jar with a Bovita pack or an Integra pack. And if you wonder what those are, those little packs add moisture, just enough to keep your product fresh and smokable, not becoming, and even if your product is dry.
Well, the product I was talking about earlier comes in a ceramic bottle. It's not a plastic, it's a ceramic bottle.
Who do you get from that's a ceramic bottle?
Vitacan.
Really? Is that the spritzer you got?
Yeah.
In ceramic? Oh, that's fancy. But it's the top ceramic.
Their regular price on it is $19 an eighth. And that's for their top buds.
That's pretty nice. But let me just say something about Vitacan / Planet 13. Again, you get what you pay for, even though it's 29%. You haven't had gold flower yet. I don't hate. I'm so happy to use it as an example. We should have more cannabis providers that are the example of quality and price. So you go to people like the Flowery or Jungle Boys. They're expensive. They have good product. It's good product. Not all of it is hand trimmed. Not all of it is organic. Not all of it is fantastic. I've had product from both of them that has been, it's all right. Not worth the money. But it's expensive. All of their bud, and also Cookies is another one. Very, very expensive flower. Very, very expensive products. They do have cost-effective options. And so quality really plays a big deal. So I use Gold Flower as a standard. Like their pre-rolls are phenomenal. Their buds are just phenomenal.
Well, I look forward
I got $15 an eighth Cheetah Piss at $28 an eighth. Or 28 grams. 28 grams. It was 28%. Wow. But it was Cheetah Piss, $15. There was another one I picked up recently. So everybody runs good deals. But you want consistency, you want quality. And so I judge people by pre-rolls, judge them. I'm telling you, when you get a pre-roll and it's amazing, then you're like, I'm really curious about the rest of their products.
When you come see me, I want to see that pre-roll because every pre-roll I've ever done, I just don't.
No, look, they don't boat, they don't canoe, they don't run. I am the advocate for checking the pre-roll, not advocate. I am whatever the word is. I don't even know what the word is right now. It doesn't even matter what the word is. I try everybody's pre-rolls. And I am a stickler that if it's a shitty pre-roll, what else are they doing, half-assed at? And it's been a very good telltale sign, a very good judge of cannabis character. And not just here in Florida. When I was in Denver, I picked up a bunch of pre-rolls and tried a bunch of different brands. And some brands, they have other things. They have concentrates as well for the brand. They have the actual flower, not just in pre-roll. They have edibles and blah, 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 blah. So every brand that had a shitty pre-roll, or it was just, it was okay. It was shake. It was running. It was boating. It just didn't, it tasted old. And it made me cough. It made me cough. I learned if it's fresh flower, if it's cured properly, fresh, cured, and not shake, you won't cough.
So if I was to ask you in South Florida, the dispensary that you think has the best quality flower, what would you tell me?
I'm going to have to come visit you.
Okay.
Because there isn't. I mean, not yet. It will be coming. I will have to check to see if they deliver in your area, because I'm telling you, so the reason I came back from Colorado and I ended up, and I was smoking stuff like Green Dot. Green Dot is incredible. Really great quality pre-rolls and concentrates and other things and flour. But it was one of those companies that I tried, and I was like, wow, excuse me, this is impressive. So same thing when I came back to Florida, I was smoking other people's stuff. I was getting some pre-rolls. Not impressed. I wasn't impressed with people. I was smoking, I was trying. I'm like, I got a 2-gram pre-roll from one of the top 3, and it just didn't do it for me. I like half grams. I like the way they smoke easier. A 1 gram gets a little harsh for me. It's a little too much smoke. I like it gentle, So I wasn't happy with Florida flower. And then I came across gold flower. Blew my mind. Terpenes through the roof. So flavorful every single hit I took. I haven't experienced that in Florida before. That's why I act like, oh my God, this is incredible. This is amazing. It is amazing. Because what I've been smoking up to this point in Florida has been, you pay for what you get. That's how I end that. I'm just saying, I'm going to end that at that. So I was asking you earlier, Colombian gold. Back then, what, thoughts?
I love Colombia. It was not, I really loved it. My favorite was Jamaican. Jamaican gold to me.
Whoa, yes. Absolutely. But that's beautiful stuff. Even looked
very sweet smelling.
Golden brown. The flower looked golden brown.
It was
golden brown.
And the buds were like the size of your fist.
Yes. Do you remember something they called once Christmas tree bud?
No.
It was during Christmas time. It would come out only during Christmas time. And it was like, the bud was like huge, but it would have, all these beautiful, gorgeous red hairs and orange hairs and yellow hairs. And they were just so prominent. And then you'd have these beautiful little purple spots on it, nice little purpy herbs. And I remember it was, if I can remember properly, it was the most giggly of weed I've ever smoked. I didn't stop laughing. Every time I think about it, I giggle a little bit because I'm like, it's residual laughing in me. Tie stick. Do you remember any tie stick?
Tie sticks to me were my favorite by far.
And if you're curious, tie stick was actually how they wrapped the flower, the marijuana, around the stick to cure it. They would cure it around a stick, and they would hang these sticks in underground or cold rooms or something like this. So the flower would almost like mold in a circle around this stick. And you'd have a stick like yay big. Look, I'm doing yay big in case you can't see it. Like a foot, like say a foot long, not even, almost a foot long, maybe 10 inches, whatever, maybe less.
And the whole
I remember I got them both. I got long sticks, I got short sticks. I got like a 5-inch stick and some weed we wrapped around, like, tie stick, right? It was tight. It was super tight around it. So
Yep.
you'd peel it off, you'd have to grind it down. Um, but or how about Kind Bud? KB, Kind Bud, Schwag. So many different names for
I miss
cannabis.
those days.
You
I do.
know, I miss I
I'm
miss the community of it. Look, I miss the community. We used to get together before COVID, and I'm gonna do an episode pre and post, or post and pre COVID, whatever, because COVID changed a lot for our emotional culture, our emotional community changed during COVID. Before COVID, look, let's go 70s, early 80s. Cannabis was, and it created communities. It shaped, you know, before there was education, behind it. Before cannabis was at the forefront of so many different movements, so many different stand-ins or sit-ins or moments where large crowds would get together and have their word heard, have their voices heard. So you come from a generation of cannabis in its in its
yeah, it's not like that
in its
anymore.
prohibition, in its strongest of prohibition.
I think that it's become so acceptable today that the need for crowds like that, people don't feel it because it's so accepted that, even unless you're out there being, in the public and just, what's the right way to put it? Doing cannabis in public, which is against law, then nobody's going to bother you. I don't think. You don't have
The, the
time.
you know nobody bothers you, and when I say that, I walk and smoke. I it's is it in the public? It could be. I mean, I use cannabis quite publicly, but in that I'm respectable or respectful of, people don't want to smell it. I try and make sure there's, nobody else around me. But so go back just 5 6 years ago, 5 years ago, if I would have done that, I would have gotten a ticket, maybe even harassed and arrested. Um, but now ignored. So, I mean, see how much we're changing our mental, even the police and the legal system, how they literally are just ignoring. Look, they're expunging. I'm sure you've seen this. They're expunging records.
I I
Are,
can.
are they doing that in some of the states where Omni is also practicing? And when they do that, do you notice a change in more licensing, more need for community education, or is it just people get their records expunged and now let's get back into cannabis? Or
Um, I don't know the answer to that. I
I'm
can.
just curious.
I
I
can
was
tell
just
you.
I was just curious. I'm like, I'm sitting here. These are my high thoughts, my highly motivated. And so that being said, we've been on for about an hour and a half, which is amazing. Um, Everybody, again, thank you for those that'll be watching later. We appreciate you coming into this smoke sesh. That's what it's been. This is a virtual digital smoke sesh. This is come together. Let's chat. Let's smoke. Let's educate. Let's be community, because that's what we're missing as people. We're missing community. We scroll on the Tiki Talker looking for something exciting. We scroll on the Facebook or the LinkedIn, or I don't know why LinkedIn is like the only one I don't make up a name for. But we're looking for something. I really think it's the community that we lost before COVID. COVID, we were really still a community as cannabis. We came together. It was more, I don't know, it's like a friend group. So I don't see that anymore because emotionally, the culture and its people, we've changed. So this right now is our virtual smoke section. This is us coming together to chit chat, to smoke. So when you come onto the show or you're watching the show, smoke if you have it. If you want, if not, eat some edibles. And edibles, I'm very into it. Look, I love to make tea from raw cannabis. I love to make butter. Amish butter mixes fantastically with pure rosins or RSOs, Rick Simpson oils, things we'll talk about. I'm very into full plant medicine and healing because it's not just cannabis, it's the combination. It's cannabis and good health. Cannabis and don't eat fast food. Cannabis, and if you want to eat bread, eat sourdough. You know, it's cannabis and it's eat cannabis raw, juice it with your green juice because you're getting magnesium and manganese. These are things that the body needs. Remember, we almost have to unlearn and relearn this. I'm not saying don't get high, but get healthy. So get high, get healthy, get educated, get part of the show. This is highly motivated. So in that, I want to kind of end the show with motivation. What is motivation? What am I motivating? What am I spreading? Frequency, vibration. I am spreading ripples in a pond that are spreading out to you. And then you spread to others and others spread to others and others spread, blah, 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 blah. Why? Because we need it. Why? Because we don't have enough positivity. Positivity may not be the word, enthusiasm, but I still like positivity because it is. Sometimes you have to fake it till you make it and then just become, and you create the positivity. You create the energy. You create the happy. You manifest your life before you. You manifest the life that you want by creating and mentally projecting that energy. You create the life around you. Others feel that, and it changes their lives, changes their energy. But it has to start from you. It has to start from one person. One person has got to be a light. You don't have to be, look, I'm not positive about things all the time. I'm enthusiastic about life. I have a positive outlook even when things get really shitty because I'm pretty high and I'm positive about it. But in that, I'm pain-free. That's what I call high. I'm medicated. I'm balanced. So I minimize it by saying high. So that's the spiel. That's what we do. We come here to manifest positivity, enthusiasm for life, energy, to get on with life, to get on with the day, to deal with traffic and your boss, and to deal with good or bad weather. Who gives a shit? But have that energy for it. Push goodness to the person next to you. Let them in traffic. Oh, hold the door for somebody. You know, pay it forward. However you want to give. Give energy first. Give kindness. Give goodness. Give the best of things first that are free from you. So let's start the ripple. Let's begin the frequency of goodness and enthusiasm and positivity and a light at the end of the tunnel. This is highly motivated. We thank you for joining us today. Martin, thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Martin and Omni, and for coming on the show. First show, great chat. We're going to do this again. We're going to do more chats. We're going to talk more about individual cannabinoids and how maybe we need to individualize cannabinoid treatment to the person. We are all different, like the fingerprints on our fingers. So the way cannabis reacts to our endocannabinoid system, each person is different. So we need personalized cannabinoid therapy. This is something I've been playing with for a while, using terpenes, the combination of terpenes, but natural cannabinoid terpenes. It makes a difference. I've noticed it activates the system, opens things up naturally, properly, instead of distillates that don't quite hit the mark. I'm not looking for fake flavor. I'm looking for what my body is naturally looking for and needs to heal. So I'm so happy you came. I'm so happy you're on the show. We're going to have to get you on the show again. And also, your son works, does social media, right?
Yes, he does.
I hear he's a bit of a wizard. I love this. We're going to have to get the wizard of social media, hidden social media, let's not talk about it.
He's terrific with it. He does research. When he posts an article, he reads it before he puts it up.
That's a big deal. So copywriting, they do, you're doing guest posting. So that's a big deal now too. I know a lot of people are doing cannabis guest posting for others, doing articles and stories. I think that right there is bringing the right information mainstream. When he's looking for the proper, and so also I would say, check out my LinkedIn. On my LinkedIn, I have a great link to, I want to say there's one that's like 37 individual double-blind studies dealing with cannabis and cancer, and different types of cancer. Very amazing. And then there's another link, and I think I have them on my favorites, or my highlighted videos or reels. There's another one that says 700 medical uses for cannabis, 700 different uses by disease, and they're categorized. They've been studied and verified by PubMed and other verifications and publications. Just very impressive. But this is knowledge that we have suppressed or have not known where to look for. So anyways, that's what this show is. We're going to talk about all of that. We're talking about all of it. And we're going to get off topic and talk about other shit. And then we're going to come back and talk about it all again. And then we're going to talk about it probably one more time, because I'll probably have forgotten that we had talked about it. And we're just going to go over it again. I'm just, I know Martin's like, really? We're going to talk about it again?
Sounds good.
Thank you, everybody, for joining us. Martin, you hang out. We're going to just end the stream in just a moment. But thank you, everyone. You can see us again next Friday. I'll be here. Maybe Monson might be joining next Friday. We don't know. But next Friday, I'll be here. Tomorrow morning, I'm doing a grand opening with Gold Flower in St. Pete. If you are there, you're going to get some great deals. Awesome things happening. But yeah, welcome to the virtual smoke sesh. Highly motivated. Stay motivated. Stay pumped. Stay positive. Stay kind. That's the number one. Let's keep it simple. Change one thing, and it changes so much around you. So if you bring kindness to the table, just think what that's going to change in the world around us. Thank you, everybody, for being here, and we're going to see you next Friday. Same time, same place.